What's up, everyone? Nick the Comic Nerd here, doing Nick's Nerd Word. I just threw it on Instagram that I'll be on here, so I'm giving people a few minutes in case they want to jump in. The StreamYard link is at the top. Feel free to jump on and talk about some comics that you read this week, or talk about anything, whatever you want to talk about. It's cool with me. Trying to do some of these a little bit earlier in the nights so that people can hang out. I'm just posting what tomorrow's video will be. Let's do that. Perfect. A lot of good reads this week. I'm actually going to sort through it. Pretty good size pile. Read a lot. I got to read a lot of stuff from this week. If you guys that came out this week, if you guys saw my Knicks picks, you'll see that. Oops, excuse me. You'll see that a lot of the current books I was able to read this week. So I'm very happy. Happy about that. I got the hiccups from my coffee. Oh my gosh. So I'm just trying to sort what was last week from what was this week. Then we'll do covers. You know the drill. Yeah, all my reads this week were from comics last week or this week. So let's see what we got here. What's up, man? Mark the Cuddy Sark. Thanks so much for hanging by. Hello from Western Australia. Thank you for taking the time to watch, man. I appreciate it. Check out the channel. We do giveaways once a month, pretty cool giveaways and stuff. So I appreciate you hanging out. I'll give it like another 30 seconds. Then I'm going to start breaking down some books. We'll go over read of the week, cover of the week, and then the opposites, the worst of both. So trying to figure that out now. Kind of tough. That was probably my least favorite read of the week, to be honest. All right, it's actually a little bit easier than I thought. And then read of the week. It's up in the air. A lot of good DC stuff. I'm actually going to do it in order to make things a little bit more interesting. Marvel, DC. Cool. Yeah, we'll do that. Do it just like that. Just making sure all this week. Perfect. All right, let's drop in. Let's do this. So first up, 2 reads from last week from DC. First book, Dawn of DC, Superboy, The Man of Tomorrow. So when I first saw this, and I think I had mentioned to you guys, I was super excited to read my first true John Kent read, like his solo story. This is not, remember, there are spoilers in this, so just heads up. This was not a John Kent book. This book was based on Connor, who plays Superboy, who is Superboy in like Titans and stuff like that. So super cool. The guy who just wears a t-shirt. This is him in his new getup. This was really, really good. I liked it a lot. I'm super excited to read issue number 2. What I very much liked about this was that he goes and he's talking to the Kellicks at the Fortress of Solitude, and he's like, "Oh, where are there problems around the world?" And he opens it up because he wants to like have a purpose, and he sees that all of the issues and all like the distress signals are being taken care of already by other superheroes. So it's like Robin is there, John Kent is there with Kara El. Like, so he's kind of disappointed. So he's like, "Where are there distress signals around the galaxy?" And he sees one, and he's like, "Where is it the most?" So he decides to go and travel to this planet. And the Kellicks is telling him like, "Don't do this. It's not a good idea." And he's like, "I'll be fine." So he's got his bag with him, and he goes to this planet where basically it's like a dictatorship with one alien, and he's taking over all the other ones. And they see him come in, and at first he's like, "I don't know what I'm supposed to do," because immediately everybody is like, "Oh, he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy," and he's not. He's there to help, and they don't see it that way. And eventually, they understand he is, and he decides to start taking on people. They basically throw a ship at him and everything, and he handles it well. But overall, it was really good. I highly recommend it. Again, I was shocked this was not a John Kent story. I thought maybe this was his new look. This is a Connor story, so really cool, especially because I'm a fan of him from Titans. Shop, what's up, man? My video tomorrow, you guys, if you look at the scroll below, is going to be a unboxing from like October. I don't even know if you remember sending me that, but you sent it to me. I think it was for Comics Cure Cancer, and I show how you put me as Star Lord in the Shopverse. So very cool. Again, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Brian. What's up, dude? Thanks for stopping by. I meant to text you yesterday and see if you were going to Long Island Comic Fest. It was a lot of fun. I was supposed to try and meet up with Will from Cup of Comics, and then he went earlier than I did because I got stuck at work. So, but yeah, if anyone wants to jump on and say hi, feel free. Next up, we have Superman #3. This is cover C. Pretty good cover, I'm not going to lie. Where you lost me. Well, I'm sorry, this didn't lose me at all. So this was the end of the first little arc with the parasites. So Superman jumps in as a parasite. He finally decides he's going to team up with Luthor for this. And he goes to the jail, the prison that Lex Luthor's in, and he breaks out. I can't remember her name, but it's not Shockwave. I can't remember her name. I'm so mad now. But she can like freeze everything, and that's what slows down the parasite is the cold. So like John Kent and Kara-El are all using their frozen breath to slow down the parasites. He says, we'll use that to one, free me from the parasite, and then two, save everybody else. That's exactly what happens. The girl who was in issue #2, I don't think I have that book sitting here, unfortunately. I don't. She comes back around. So that girl who's the first appearance, I can't remember her name. On to new books from DC this week. So these books came out this week. So again, spoiler alert, giving you the heads up. First up, we have Green Arrow. Really cool. This is my first true Green Arrow run. Very excited for it. Very much looking forward to what's to come. Basically, Oliver introduces the family. You have, I think his name was Red Arrow. This is his son Hawk, who first appeared in Robin on Lazarus Island, which was super, super cool. And then you have Dina, who plays Black Canary. Really, really good. Basically, Red Arrow's daughter comes around. He knows it's her. He calls her out on it. And the whole time, Oliver is talking about a family and how he never had one, or he never thought he'd have one. He's like, but here I am with the girl he loves, and this is that, and how the universe tears them apart, and they somehow end up back together, this and that. Super good. Might be my read of the week, to be honest. Might be my read of the week. And what happens is Red Arrow's daughter, I can't remember her name now, I feel so bad. She gets pulled into another dimension, and everybody's like, oh no, and she's being attacked, and Oliver is there. So he's not in the regular universe with Hawk and with Dina, and he ends up telling her, like, I know you, this and that, I know who you are, and I think it's because he knows of the family, and he's kind of doing the Bruce Wayne thing where, like, never had a family, grows a family of his own, and now here we are. So, but yeah, she's, like, super weird about it, and he's like, it's okay, just follow me, and he tells her, like, we can never go back. And it kind of feels like the Green Arrow thing, because even when he did DC vs. Vampires, Oliver was kind of doing his own thing anyways, and you always had the feeling like, oh, he might make like the sacrifice. I don't know if that's how it ends. I haven't gotten to that issue, unfortunately. I'm so close to the end of it, but that's just where we are. So I highly recommend this. Really good. This was a Joshua Williamson story too, so definitely check it out. On to my new, like, most favorite thing to look forward to with reading, Unstoppable Doom Patrol. This is #2. So this issue was a little bit slower than issue #1. We learn a few things here. The person on the front is called Worm, and Amanda Waller, I don't know if she's around or not, but Peacemaker basically runs the operation she was running, and the other teammates of the Doom Patrol take Worm in, and this is Velvet, this blue creature wrapped around him, and Worm is talking to Peacemaker in his head. He has like a little thing in his head, so you kind of figure out like, oh, he's there to infiltrate the Doom Patrol and see what's going on. And Peacemaker is telling him like, oh, if you leave, I'll make your head explode, this and that. And Worm was like, no, like, I'll just do what you're saying. There were a few little side stories in here. Robot Man, I think, is falling for, I can't remember what her name is now because they don't really mention it. It's really quick. The whole book story was basically about Worm. And then Robot Man 1, he's like falling for her. And the chief says, like, I can't set you up on one of your little excursions. And then Robot Man goes to a cemetery plot, and you find out, well, you don't find out. I found out through Trav TM Nerdy because I messaged him knowing he knows this stuff. That was the chief's daughter. So I was like, oh, that's actually really sad. Um, but yeah, so you see that maybe that Robot Man in the past went with the chief's daughter and something bad happened. I think she got killed. I don't know. But this ends where Worm decides I'm not doing this. These people are really nice. As he lets Velvet through like the vent systems and collect information about everybody. And that part you kind of like overlooked because you think that Worm is the mole, and then Peacemaker is like, "That's it, I'm killing you," because Worm was just like, "I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it," and Robot Man knows, the Chief knows, Beast Girl knows, and Robot Man uses his powers, I guess, to like throw the signal for the Worm to like get killed, for his head to explode, and he comes out and they admit like, we know what's going on, like we know who you are, this and that, and he's like, I didn't mean any of that, and they're like, we know, but the signal, we're losing strength with the signal, like your head's gonna explode. And Worm gets upset and he's like, all right, just take care of Velvet for me, basically. And Robot Man throws Worm into the sky, he explodes. So it was another first appearance between Worm and Velvet. And then you see Peacemaker talking to whoever his chief is, and Peacemaker is saying, none of this matters, it's okay, because Velvet is the actual mole collecting information. So super crazy, cool little turn of events, because like I said, you don't really see it coming, and then all of a sudden at the end you're like, oh, that's what happened. Like you think that Velvet went through those grates in the vents to give the information to Worm, but in reality that's who was kind of tracked the whole time. On to Marvel, and then a couple Marvel books, and then one indie, and that's it. So first up we have this. This I wish was a longer story. So this is Guardians of the Galaxy, the Bane of Blastar. Blastar is this big villain here. On the, yeah, I think his the planet he's on was called like Balor or something. Different team from the Guardians of the Galaxy run that currently came out. Because as you can see, you got Rocket, Groot is there, and Nova is there, who were not in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 that came out 2 weeks ago or last week. I don't remember. I think it was 2 weeks ago. So the Guardians hear of this story, and Star-Lord knows of Blastar and is like, yeah, he's just some big hunk, but like we'll get him, whatever. And they go and they decide to infiltrate. And again, this should be more than one issue. I think this was just a one shot, to be honest. I don't see this going farther. Rich Rider, who is Nova, is like trying to prove himself to the team and use teamwork. So he like tries to go ahead to interrogate and to like just scout out what's going on, and comes back and you find out he made like a little mistake and just little things. The fight breaks out. Groot plays a huge role in this. Even Star-Lord plays a huge role in this. One, as a great leader, and two, just as like you kind of learn more about him. He's like more serious now. Like he explains his element guns can change the elements of things, which I personally always thought and just never really knew. And he's like shooting a door, trying to turn it into like plastic so they could just open it, and Groot has to do it. Groot has to do a lot of the work. Gamora is pretty cool in this. This whole thing starts and ends at a bar. And Rocket is even like a happy-go-lucky character who you don't really see much from Rocket like that. And he's like, oh, cool, we're going to have a job. We've got to go on like a, like we should all hug and take a picture before we go on our adventure. Like really weird stuff. But they end up beating Blastar, and that's it. Like it's over. So I think it's a one shot. It was a good read. I recommend it. But again, I don't know. Like it was quick. Like it kind of started and ended, and you were like, oh, because once they defeated Blastar, there were a few pages left, and I was like, there's nothing more to this. Like it's just over, and that's what happened. So next we have Doctor Strange #2. I really liked issue #1. I really liked issue #2, to be honest. My problem with this is the artwork inside, and you guys know I'm not an Alex Ross guy. I think this is an Alex Ross cover. I could be wrong. But I do love the story of Doctor Strange and Clea. And with this, they're talking to Moon Knight a lot. And Clea and Moon Knight, it's almost like when Doctor Strange was gone, he was like there for her, and he wants Clea, and Clea really doesn't want him. And Doctor Strange knows that. But they have to dive into the dreams of this girl and see, kind of like Inception, see what's causing a lot of her problems. And They go down a level of her dreams and they realize it's not enough. Then they go down another level and it's not enough. And then they go down again, let's say, and it's enough. But Clea and Doctor Strange are working together. He's like, "You have to protect me," and she's like, "I will." And he uses an attack to basically attack her nightmares, which is really cool. And then they come out of it, and it was cool because at first it was like just a solo story for this, and I was like, okay, like that's still good. Um, Even though I know I kind of just said the opposite about Guardians of the Galaxy, it was good, but overall, I was like, at the end of the whole thing, they end up going. I can't remember, somebody died, and Clea's heart broke, and Doctor Strange was like, "All right, we have to figure this out." So really good uh, story. Excited for issue number 3. Um, I recommend it. I think Jed McKay is doing a lot of good stuff. I'm a big fan. So next up, we have Venom: Lethal Protector number 2, another book from this. This is Silver Sable Strikes. So Eddie Brock and Venom decide to. Well, they don't exactly decide to. Um, they didn't want to work with Sable, and she tells them, "We'll give you $1,000 a day to work with us." And they're trying to pay off a kid's college fund who I think his house got destroyed. And you can see they're like upset and like, "All right, we'll do it." And they have to go, and they end up seeing that a ship is crashing towards where they're at, or like a just civilians, let's say, and it ends up being just people who don't deserve it. So like, all right, well, we can do this. So Sable is trying to control the engines, their shot, and Eddie and the symbiote decide we're gonna find a way because we always win together, and they do. It's really cool. So they don't love working for Sable. They don't love working for anybody, but the money is worth it to them because there's like incentive too. Like if it's a dangerous job, it's more than $1,000 a day. If there's more villains involved or heavier villains, it's worth more. So the other weird thing is there's still a side story in this with Vulture, and he's off fighting somebody and losing, who's a cool character. I think that's who's going to end up being the final fight against Venom. And you also learn that at the end of this, Doctor Doom gets involved. So it's cool because I've never seen a Venom versus Doom run, and maybe that's what this is about. Or is Doom working with or working above Vulture, and that's what's going on. So really cool. I enjoyed this a lot. The Sable and Venom chit chat is a lot of fun to read. Um, like she's really badass, to be honest, and obviously he is too, and they just work two totally different ways. Um, but yeah, they work really well together as a team. I'm excited for issue number 3. The next thing, I liked this. I'm gonna say I liked it. This was Darth Vader, Black, White, and Red, number 1. This is a cool read. I enjoyed this a lot. The first story is more than one part. Basically, what happens is somebody infiltrates Vader. Vader starts kicking the crap out of them, and then he ends up setting them up and like kind of electrocuting him and getting him down. And he all of a sudden overheads to somebody like, "Oh hey, I got him. Like we've got him." So like I said, it was part 1. Really cool. I liked it. The artwork is cool. It's cool seeing the black, white, and red, especially because Darth Vader is obviously a black suit character. The lightsaber is red. So it does a really good job. The second story, and this was a Peach Momoko story, there was no context. There was no vocals to it. There were no words, no dialogue. And it was called, I think it was called it was called Inescapable. Basically, it's this girl is having a nightmare. And every time she wakes up, she falls back asleep and she sees Darth Vader again and again and again. So at one point, he's got her and he traps her in his lightsaber. At one point, she's drifting off to space and it's his skull in the shape of his fighter jet. Like, really well done. I don't love Peach Momoko. I've said that before, but this was a really cool story. Again, for no dialogue, it was quick. You would just flipping through and it would just show the girl asleep and her nightmare of Vader. A girl asleep, the nightmare of Vader. It just kept happening. It was really well done. I liked it a lot. So I would recommend checking this out. I don't remember what the third story was called. I'm trying to remember if I could think of it off the top of my head. But it was pretty good. It was about like I wouldn't say a doctor. It was somebody who worked on his ship, and they were the only person on the ship who knew like the coordinates to something or whereabouts somebody was. And you go through the whole thing, and you learn that his family, I believe, was killed. And at the bottom of it all, of course, Darth Vader knew they were killed, and he was a part of it. And it was sad to see because all of a sudden he called him out. I think it was a doctor, and Vader just kind of used the Force and choked him to death and was like, I'm sorry, I did know the whole time. So pretty cool. I liked I didn't read the Wolverine, the black, white, and red. I did read the Carnage ones. I liked the Carnage ones more than I liked this Darth Vader one, but I will try number 2. So, and if it doesn't go well from there, I'll stop. But hey, we'll find out about that. Next up, we have Blue Book number 3, the James Tynion run through Dark Horse Comics. This is the conspiracy theory thing with the aliens. Betty and her husband, I can't remember his name. I can't tell if it's a flashback or if they decide to drive down the same road where they saw the UFOs and the aliens the first time. And they see people in the road, then it like kind of squiggles out and they're aliens. And they decide that they're going to go through with hypnosis and see if that helps. And first, the husband goes in and he tells them like, oh yeah, like you should be able to remember things from the past, or like should bring back memories or dreams or things that happened. And he goes in and he's doing it and he starts to remember that night, because so far only the wife remembers it. The husband remembers time being lost but doesn't remember what happens, or the wife knows something happened. And the guy who's doing the hypnosis on them says at the end of it like he's gonna have problems because he's starting to remember, and I think he's gonna jump on board with his wife finally and be like, all right, yeah, we've got to look into this. And then the next page, the final page, goes on to Betty, and the narrator, I think, who is like the guy who does the hypnosis, says, you thought that he's gonna have problems, wait until you see what she's gonna come across. So really, really crazy. Better than issue 2. I liked issue 1. I didn't love issue 2. I loved issue 3. So we're gonna go through these. I'll do my read of the week. I'll do my least favorite read of the week and my least favorite cover of the week. Then we'll do read of the week and favorite cover of the week. So I think this is read of the week. I think this is cover of the week. Least favorite. Damn, Daniel. Is this really my least favorite read of the week? Yeah. Wow, it's crazy. All right, we're ready. Least favorite cover of the week. Doctor Strange 2. It's cool because, again, it's Clea and Strange going into the Nightmare of the Little Girl. Just wasn't for me. Then we have least favorite read of the week. Was actually going to come down to Darth Vader, black, white, and red. Like I said, I felt a little rushed. The artwork was great. The first story being a 2-parter was cool. The Peach Momoko one was cool. The third one was a little rough, like not hard to follow, but wasn't fantastic for me. But hey, it happens. My favorite cover of the week, as much as I didn't love the story, I really liked this cover. I like the whole Blastar cover with Drax, Rocket, Mantis, Quill, Gamora, Nova, and Groot. I think that's a great cover. I'm wondering if in Guardians 3 in a week we'll see Nova maybe get an appearance. Leaving my read of the week to be Doom Patrol number 2. I really liked this. It was cool to find out some hidden things. Beast Girl being a new character to me and to everybody is super cool because that's somebody I'm new with, where the rest of the Doom Patrol team I'm starting to learn about. So, but I thought this was really cool. I thought the whole worm thing was awesome. I thought Peacemaker being involved, kind of acting as Amanda Waller, was awesome. So we'll see where it goes. I really liked it. So I'm excited for issue number 3. Like I said, it's my favorite thing to look forward to on some comic book days. Let me know what you guys had for read of the week, for your least favorite read of the week, covers, whatever it is. Comment down below. Me and Brian go to the same LCS. Nick, you hitting 4th World? I will be there. My goal is to be there at noon. I know the line gets crazy. I also have to wait and see what the lineup is going to be. I know they're doing 2 days. I'm not off Sunday. So I'm going to try and go just Saturday. I might go Sunday after work. We'll see. But I'm going to look at who the lineup is for who they have showing up for artists and writers and stuff. So I know I talked to one of the owners, and they're mostly doing local guys, which is perfectly fine with me. So we'll see. Obviously, message me on Instagram or something. If you're going to be there, I will absolutely meet up with you. And yeah, so I think you have my number still too. You can text me if you want. But that's what I've got for you guys. Again, tomorrow, Shop for Comics unboxing from October and something else cool from the Shopverse. But yeah, this is the place to leave it. I think I'm going to go hang out and watch At World's End. at Week's End, at World's End, at Week's End on Legion with Comics channel. Hang out over there. So check us out on that one. I appreciate you guys hanging out as always. I like to highlight everybody who is here. Mark the Cuddy Sark, thanks so much for hanging out, dude. It was really nice seeing a new face in the chat. Shop, you're the man. Appreciate you. And Brian, always a pleasure. I hope that you guys all stay safe and enjoy your comics.